Imagine a mirror covered in dust. No matter how beautiful the face before it may be, the reflection will always appear distorted. The human heart is much like that mirror. When it becomes covered by arrogance, greed, resentment, and constant distraction, it loses the ability to reflect truth clearly. A person may still believe they see the world accurately, but their perception has already been clouded. The work of self-purification is not about becoming perfect overnight. It is about slowly removing the layers that prevent the heart from seeing clearly. Many people fear this process because it requires humility. It requires admitting that we are not always guided by noble intentions. But humility is not weakness. It is the doorway to growth. A person who refuses to acknowledge their flaws remains trapped by them. But the one who recognizes their weaknesses gains the power to transform them. The journey toward wisdom is therefore not a journey of pride, but a journey of sincerity. Another important lesson is understanding the value of intention. Two people may perform the same action, yet the meaning of their actions can be completely different. One may give charity to be admired by others, while another gives quietly out of compassion. Outwardly, the actions appear identical. Inwardly, they belong to entirely different worlds. The heart gives life to the action. Without sincerity, even the greatest achievements lose their true value. This is why reflection must become a daily habit. Just as the body requires nourishment to survive, the soul requires moments of silence to remain balanced. A person who constantly fills their life with noise, endless information, endless comparisons, endless distractions, gradually loses connection with their deeper self. But the one who regularly pauses, reflects, and asks honest questions about their life begins to develop clarity. And with clarity comes freedom. Freedom from the need to constantly prove oneself. Freedom from the exhausting race of comparison. Freedom from the illusion that our worth depends on the approval of the crowd. When a person reaches this understanding, life begins to change in subtle but powerful ways. Actions become more intentional. Words become more thoughtful. And the heart becomes less restless. But wisdom is not something that appears suddenly in a single moment. It grows slowly, like a tree that strengthens its roots deep beneath the soil before anyone notices its height. Every moment of reflection, every act of sincerity, every effort to understand oneself adds another root to that tree. Over time, the person who once felt lost begins to develop a quiet sense of direction. And perhaps that is one of the greatest lessons of all. The purpose of life is not simply to move faster, achieve more, or impress others. It is to awaken, to become aware of who we truly are and what truly matters. If these reflections helped you pause and think a little deeper about your own life, take a moment to support the channel. Subscribe so our community can continue to grow. Like the video if you found value in these ideas, and share it with someone who might also need a moment of reflection today. Close your eyes for a moment and ask yourself a simple question. If everything you are chasing today suddenly disappeared, your wealth, your status, your plans, even the approval of others, what would remain of you? Most people spend their lives running from silence because silence forces them to face this question. Yet the truth of a human being is not revealed in noise, but in stillness. A heart that never pauses cannot see itself clearly. And a soul that never reflects may spend an entire lifetime moving quickly, yet going nowhere at all. In the path of wisdom, the greatest tragedy is not ignorance. It is distraction. A person may read many books, gather many ideas, and speak with great confidence, yet remain far from understanding the purpose of life. True knowledge is not the accumulation of words, but the transformation of the heart. Imagine a traveler carrying a lantern through the night. If the lantern lights the road but never illuminates his own face, he may guide others while remaining blind to himself. Many people live exactly this way. They illuminate the world around them with activity, achievement, and ambition, but never turn the light inward. The first step toward wisdom is recognizing the fragile nature of this world. Look carefully at the things people spend their lives fighting for. Wealth that can vanish in a moment. Praise that changes with the opinions of strangers. Power that fades as quickly as it rises. If a man builds his identity upon these things, he builds upon sand. When the winds of life begin to blow, and they always do, everything collapses. The wise person does not reject the world completely, but neither do they mistake it for something permanent. They walk through it the way a traveler walks through a marketplace, observing, using what is necessary, but never forgetting that it is only a temporary stop along the journey. Yet the human heart has a strange habit. It clings to what is fleeting and ignores what is eternal. We polish our reputation but neglect our character. We measure success through the eyes of others while forgetting the state of our own soul. This is why self-examination is one of the most powerful forms of knowledge. A person who reflects deeply upon their own actions becomes aware of subtle intentions hidden beneath the surface. Why do we seek recognition? Why do we feel disturbed when others surpass us? Why does the praise of people bring such pleasure, while their criticism brings such pain? If one sits quietly with these questions, a deeper truth begins to emerge. Much of what we do is not guided by wisdom, but by the desire to be seen, admired, and remembered. The ego whispers constantly, convincing us that our value depends on the attention of others. But the soul was not created to perform for the crowd. It was created to seek truth. Consider how easily the heart becomes restless. Even when people achieve what they thought would make them happy, the satisfaction rarely lasts. A new desire appears, then another, and another after that. It is like drinking salty water. The more one drinks, the greater the thirst becomes. The world promises fulfillment, but often delivers only temporary distraction. This is why a person may possess comfort, opportunity, and success, yet still feel an unexplained emptiness within. The problem is not that people desire happiness. The problem is that they search for it in places where it cannot remain. Real peace does not come from possessing more things. It comes from understanding oneself, disciplining the heart, and learning to see life through a deeper perspective. When a person begins this inner journey, something remarkable happens. The noise of comparison slowly fades. The fear of losing status becomes less powerful. Even the opinions of others begin to lose their hold over the mind. At that moment, the individual begins to realize that the greatest battle in life is not against the world, but within the self. And the one who learns to confront this inner struggle with honesty has already taken the first step toward true wisdom. But this step is difficult because it requires courage. The courage to question the illusions we have built around our own identity, and the courage to ask whether the life we are living is truly leading us toward what matters most. When a person begins to confront this inner struggle, they soon discover something unexpected. The greatest obstacles are not outside circumstances, but the habits of the heart. Pride disguises itself as confidence. Envy hides beneath the appearance of ambition. Vanity dresses itself as success. These forces quietly shape our actions while convincing us that we are acting freely. This is why true wisdom requires constant vigilance. The wise person does not simply examine the world, They examine themselves,